Remnants is a space flight game where players are led to believe that they are the sole surviving human. Flying from space station to space station is simply survival, meant to refill their oxygen reserves. During transit, players must dodge and destroy asteroids in order to make it through. And destroyed asteroids drop a mineral resource which allows players to upgrade their ships. Upon arrival at their first station, players will receive a clue that may lead them to a surviving human colony, which shall provide their motivation to continue the journey whilst also revealing remnants of what humanity was. Remnants is a single player skill based action game for Android phones. Our target audiences are teens and adults. Remnants was composed around five main mechanics: draw, group, memorize and recall, collect, and swap and replace. The draw mechanic was designed to avoid the mindlessness of pressing a button to shoot. As asteroids become visible, players are given the chance to press the spots on the screen in a specific shape in order to destroy and collect energite. This is meant to provide a sense of urgency and focus as they attempt to correctly tap a moving target. Draw directly affects the player's method of surviving through the level as well as mineral collection. The input for this mechanic is the player's touch of the asteroid's on-screen dots. The group mechanic was designed to provide a consequence to the draw mechanic. If a player misses a target dot and presses outside of the grouping, the pattern is reset. While not a dire consequence, the implication of resetting the pattern could result in the player's destruction, or at the very least increase the difficulty of survival. The input for a group is pressing outside of the dot grouping after a pattern has been started. The memorize recall mechanic provides another element to the draw mechanic. Each asteroid has a specific color to it, which holds a specific pattern. Every so often, a larger asteroid will appear in the form of a boss, and it will take a large amount of space for the player to maneuver in. Players can only destroy the boss asteroid by recalling and drawing the correct pattern on it. This mechanic's input is also the player's touch of the asteroid's on-screen dots. The collection mechanic is designed to give players incentive to attack asteroids, rather than play through the entire level dodging them. Collecting energite isn't always ideal, though. As energite makes its way towards the player may not be able to collect it without avoiding a collision with an asteroid. This risk makes collection a dynamic choice that each player needs to face based on their specific situation, with such factors as oxygen depletion, risk of collision, as well as their level of need for energite. Collection's input is the player's maneuvering over the mineral before it passes by. The swap replace mechanic is meant to reward players for the risk they took with the collection mechanic. This mechanic provides the important incentive for actually collecting energite, giving players the opportunity to decrease the difficulty of future travels. The input for this mechanic is, while at a space station, the player selects the upgrade option, then which part they'd wish to upgrade. Bringing the ability to draw into a space shooter is no easy feat, but we didn't want it to be some simple addition to the game, so we decided to take the core of our gameplay, which is shooting, and apply some form of draw mechanic to it. Once we decided that, our ideas began to form quickly, and it was easy to create another system that fit into our original gameplay. It also allowed us to break the game down to much more simple but interwoven systems that supplement and affect each other pretty well. One issue we found: in our initial idea, the player would have to draw shapes on the asteroids, but with the asteroid moving, it would be very difficult to maintain a steady drawing, so we switched over to tapping dots in the pattern. Playing the game now has an entirely different feel, with the transits between stations feeling much less tedious.
For some of our comparable games that compare to Remnants, we actually have Fruit Ninja, Typing of the Living Dead, and Type Racer. Fruit Ninja is actually a game that you can play on your smartphone. It consists of fruits that fly across the screen, and you have to swipe across the screen in order to cut them. And when you do that, you get a high score, and then you get different combos to get higher scores. In the game, however, there are bombs that fly across the screen that if you swipe on them, it instantly ends the game. In Typing of the Living Dead, it's an arcade game that the player has to type whatever word is above the zombie's head in order to kill it. Player kind of has to use their eyes and quick reflexes to type the words as fast as possible to kill the zombies before they get too close and kill the player. And then Type Racer is actually a keyboard game that makes the player type out a paragraph. The faster the player types, the faster the player's car will go, and you actually play against an opponent and you have to type out your paragraph faster than the opponent does in order to beat them. While our games doesn't have anything to do with typing or swiping, We actually have patterns that the player has to memorize that pop up on the asteroid, and they have to tap them in the specific order in order to kill the asteroid and get the energite from it. However, as the levels go on, they kind of get a little bit more trickier and have more patterns, whereas when you start out early, it might only have 3 or so patterns. As you get further into the game, you can have up to 9 different patterns that pop up on the asteroid that you have to memorize and tap in the correct order.